With James Gunn being in control of DC, we're starting to see more and more DC. Me and Scott are here, your usual dorks, but we've got our very special guests returning once again. We've got Paul Edwards, Mr. DC World and owner of the Geek Garage in Wickford, and the Geek of Steel himself, Luke Bugg. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello, yes. Thanks for having us on again.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Always. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The episode that you guys came into, that's where we've had a fire for this podcast, but since we had you guys on, the fire has just ignited so much. So I thank you for that, by the way.
No, yeah, you're very welcome. We had an absolute blast talking about San Diego, all the trials and tribulations, and just talking about what we love, and messing about and joking around with you guys. It was a lot of fun.
Hopefully we'll do it again. It's whether we find out whether Scott's any funnier now, because you haven't met him before.
I think
well, that's it.
He turns up late. He's sitting there like a naughty schoolboy.
He's right. He's got a very nice smile though. So I'm ready. It's ready to embrace the fun. He's got some nice posters there. He's got some nice lighting. We're hot to trot.
And what did I say before? We'll see if Scott turns up on brand. Since we're all on brand with DC stuff, we'll see what Scott turns up in.
just horrors.
Scott, yeah. And his attire is Scott's ready to go down the pub this evening.
He's going Bruce Wayne with it. He's got a lovely Joker smile. It's fine. It's good.
That's it. There we go. Come on. There's something going.
Yeah.
That's it.
And speaking of the Clown Prince of Crime, I don't know if any of you's noticed, but a movie came out very recently called Joker, Folie à deux. And, I mean, I know my opinion on the first one. It is one of the best films I've ever seen in my life. It's the only film I've ever seen at the cinema 3 times. Wow. This one hasn't hit the mark, and obviously we're all DC fans. We all know a bit about DC, I should think. What are we thinking, guys? Let's go down the route and talk about Joker and talk about why we think not only it's not hit the mark, what our opinions on the film itself as DC fans. Scott, I'll ask you, because these guys are professionals at this stuff. Like, this is what their job is.
That's a strong word. Don't put that on our shoulders. That's way too much responsibility. Oh, the only time I ever hear the word "sir" is when somebody is asking me to leave a restaurant. So don't say we're professionals.
So you're putting me ahead of the professionals. I see.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought I'll ask you because, you know, you went to see the film yourself recently,
yes.
And obviously you're a DC fan. You're someone that is still new to this podcast, I suppose. So I'd love to hear your opinion before we hear from the guys that went to the premiere to see the movie and how it went.
That's really cool that you went to the premiere, and fuck you guys.
He's still got the tickets there, look, but yes.
That's awesome. My thoughts on the film. So, I think I've had enough time now to digest it all and to kind of listen to what others have said. And I've tried to be very fair in listening to what others think and feel about it. I enjoyed the movie. I didn't love it. I love a lot of films, right? And it's hard for me not to like a film. It takes a lot to do it. This one put me a little bit on the edge there. It did put me near the edge for it. I enjoyed it. I thought that the musical side of things didn't bother me. I know that's bothering a lot of people. It didn't bother me a lot. The way that I saw it was showing kind of like the crazy mind thinking of Arthur. That's how I was portraying the singing part of things. In terms of the film itself, the story, I thought that they dragged it out quite a bit in terms of it was all about the court trial for me. I felt like that's the thing that everyone's a bit bothered about. And I know that a lot of, I don't want to say non-DC fans, but people that don't follow it as much, they just go and see the film because they saw the first Joker. I think they was expecting a kind of Batman film where it's like all action, there's a big plot twist and all that kind of stuff to go with Batman. Whereas this, it just felt like an extended version of the end of number 1 to me. It didn't feel like there was enough to be put into a second movie, and they had a lot of time I think, from when they filmed the first one and released that to this one, to have a lot more there in terms of that time in between both of the films. But I did enjoy it. I felt like I come away from it and I was like, oh, that was a good film. I just didn't come away going, whoa, that was awesome. That's kind of my gist of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts, and my only difference, the way I've explained it, to me, it felt like this could have been a Netflix special more than it was a sequel to the movie. Like, I could have easily have sat at home and watched it, and it be like a lead up to a bigger sequel, if that makes sense. Paul, you and Luke were there at that premiere. You were there with I believe Joaquin. Was Joaquin there? You met them all, didn't you? So
We didn't meet him. They was like 8 foot from us, but we didn't like meet him.
that's as good as.
That's close enough, all right? Close enough.
Almost reaching distance to the.
We was breathing the same air. It's like,
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Like sucking in. Get his carbon dioxide in me. So, how was the experience there for you guys? Like, you there at the premiere. What was that like? Did the cast watch the film with you, or did they sort of hello and disappear?
so in this, it was hello, disappear. But I think they had a lot of press stuff going on. Sometimes they do stay and come in and sit down with you in the cinema, which is even weirder because they spread out and they're in with the public and there's seats reserved. So that's quite weird. You could end up sitting next to someone. But it was great from the atmosphere going in, the buzz. I had the Joker waistcoat I've made. Everyone had some we'd made or done something with the outfit and pins. After the buzz of going in from outside on the carpet, in the cinema, there's some interviews and photo ops, and then you're in the screen, and they have 2 screens in the Cineworld. They have the IMAX screen, and there's like a super screen. So we was in the super screen, Luke, wasn't we, for this one?
We were.
Massive. Fortunately, it was about 5 rows from the front, so you're on the verge of the whole screens like this. So we was there. So we was in there, and I liked it. I'm probably the same as Scott. I liked it, and I'm probably 6 or 7 out of 10. For me, didn't mind the story. Again, the courtroom bit dragged. Then all that action bit kicked in with him getting out, and it was like, oh, here we go. This film's about sort of like turn around, and it didn't turn around how I'd sort of envisioned it. The music aspect, I'm not a fan of musical films anyway. Not something I ever go and watch. But that, I think if they'd have cut the music scenes out, it would have still worked as a good film. Could have probably slightly had a better story. And the ending probably would have stayed the same, which made a bit of sense. But it weren't what I thought. And the way I thought the music was going to play out was we were going to sort of see inside his mind or her mind. And like you're sitting there and you're having this dream and this magical days of reminiscing something happening, and I thought that was how it was going to come across, and I can see they was trying to get it that way, and I don't think it came across on screen of giving you that getting inside this psycho's mind, and this is what he said, everything's all fluffy and fancy, or what he's doing, and it didn't work, I don't think, in the film. But the ending was a big twist, and just at an event the other day with someone from Warner's, they brought up an interesting thing with the ending, saying, what if all of it, Arthur was dreaming all along? Like a Sixth Sense film where none of this now could have been real from the first film. He's been dreaming. This is all in his head and blah blah blah. So I'll leave you on that thought. But
thanks for that.
It's a very interesting question, and I thought, that's quite a good twist there.
All
in his
a
head.
dream.
The guy at the end who does what he does and then cuts his mouth, he's then the proper Joker, and that's the first Joker you actually get in. He wasn't never one, but very interesting plot twist.
Before I go into it, because we did this last time, when we were talking about Beetlejuice, we did the spoiler warning at the end. If anyone's listening that hasn't seen Joker and you're planning to, go see it. Definitely go see it. But also, spoilers, we're going to probably ruin the film for you. Luke, it's your turn to shine and give your opinion. Is yours the same? Are you going to tell us it was the best film you've ever seen?
No. Honest answer. But I'm a fan of musicals, so I'm the opposite to Paul. I love a musical when it's done right. And if you are promoting a DC film, especially as the Joker and Harley Quinn, as a musical, and you show us glimpses of these really elaborate, like, posh musical scenes like you would get in classic 1950s, 60s Hollywood musicals. Don't just give us a little bit. Give us the whole number. And don't give Joaquin talk singing like they did in Les Mis with Hugh Jackman. Don't do the talk singing. Do actual singing. If you're going to go in, go all in. And there were some elements of this film, though, that I did like. I really enjoyed the opening animation.
Yeah, oh my God.
Love that.
Was
such a surprise.
And it was good animation. It reminded me a lot of some of the animated stuff that we saw in Roger Rabbit. There was that element to it. There was wacky Hanna-Barbera moments with some added gore. You didn't see
Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers,
it was like that.
Bugs Bunny, yeah.
But with a little bit of Ren and Stimpy thrown in just to make it a bit more gory and gritty.
Yeah.
But I loved the first Joker film. That film was hard to watch at times. It was difficult. There were some fantastic, powerful scenes. And Paul and I got to see that film again with a live orchestra. And to have that scary music with those thrilling scenes was, like, again, hard to watch. I didn't really get that with this film. I was hoping to get that again, and it's hard capturing lightning in a bottle once, let alone twice. And I think, as we all said, there was a lot going on all at once, and there were lots of different storylines happening. And a lot of people said, oh, well, you know, when the film makes you think a lot, maybe that's why it's such a good film. Sometimes you say that statement when a film didn't hit the mark and you're trying to validate what you saw. I loved some parts of it. I didn't like other parts. And I'm a fan of courtroom dramas. And there was a part when you saw the Joker doing a part, he even put on a southern accent. There were those elements of A Few Good Men and 12 Angry Men. And it was like, oh, this could get gritty. And it was like, it didn't land. And there were some parts at the beginning where I thought, again, spoilers, I thought that Lady Gaga's character was just going to be a figment of the Joker's imagination.
Yeah.
Which would have been which would have been harsh, but then I was like, okay. So how come she managed to sort of wangle that little impromptu romantic moment in the Joker's cell? There was lots of things that I was questioning afterwards, and when I start questioning a plot, it's when my overthinking mind starts finding faults elsewhere. So lots of hits, lots of misses in that film, I think, sadly.
And in regards to that scene, because we didn't get anything like that in the first one. You kind of got the romantic with the girl that happened there and then. I was like, oh, what the? Yeah. Whoa! I'm actually seeing not only Joaquin Phoenix making love, but I'm seeing the Joker technically make love, which is very strange. And I don't know about anybody else, but it reminded me for some reason, I think it's the way it was done. It reminds me of 8 Mile with Eminem, where him and the girl sleep together, and it's kind of just a quick thing up against the wall again. It's like I was expecting him to turn around to the camera and go, "You have one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever."
Yeah, luckily there was no vomit or mum spaghetti in that scene, but
yes,
it didn't. It was one of those moments where it could have worked, but necessarily didn't. But the music, I like the music. If you're going to go in and say it's a musical, go all in. Give us the big numbers. Give us a real razzle dazzle. And when they started doing that, they sort of cut short and stopped doing it. So yeah, it was.
I feel like
see it again.
I do, but I know the difference compared to how I felt last time, because when I can't even remember. I know I see it with my partner. I know I see it with my brother-in-law the third time. I can't remember if me and my partner was the first time or the second time. I think I went to see it on my own first, but I was desperate to go and see. I was desperate to go and see another 3-hour movie again and again, and then after 3 times, I could go again, but really, Ryan, you can just wait now for the Blu-ray. You've seen it enough. You know that movie inside out. Just wait. Go get your makeup, put it on, dress up. You'll be fine. You've got the character. But this one, like, yes, I'd love to see it again, but I'll if I can, I'll go see it at the cinemas. But I'm in no rush. I'll gladly wait now and buy it on Blu-ray and watch it over and over again. I feel like how to explain, like that, like you say, there was bits where you start to think, oh, this is going to go that, like you said, Paul, when the explosion happens at the thing, I'm like, this is where we're going in. Like, the Joker's coming through, and realistically, it's where the Joker ends.
Five minutes later, he was back inside.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like.
It's like they reel you in and then they're like, no.
Yeah, and I think that's. And I know people were expecting a Batman movie, but it's because the way the first one ended, it was like, right, he is now the Joker. He is embracing the Joker. I'm really sorry about the noise in the background. If you can hear it, by the way, I can hear screaming kids and everything. But he's embracing this Joker. He's going to be this, and we're going to see this going forward now. But it was kind of like we were starting again in a way, because he was a bit of a shell of himself. He wasn't that cocky. Even at the end of the film, where you kind of made to think at the end of the first one, did this happen? Is this the Joker being the Joker and telling us a tale of how he became the Joker? He still had that smile, and he still was, when he walks away and you see the blood, you're like, he's the Joker. But then we come to him and he's not. He's Arthur Fleck again.
No.
And we understand.
I really liked his painful laugh when in that first film when he was in that bus and he was trying so hard to stop himself from laughing. I was like, oh, this is powerful stuff.
Yeah,
and we didn't see many elements of that in this film. Yeah, with his little card saying, look, I'm sorry, I've got a condition.
Yeah, that's it.
We didn't see any of that Joker in this film. We saw almost a caricature, not only of the Joker, but of the character as well. So, yeah, it's interesting, but, yeah.
The first film, not what I wanted to see some in this film. I didn't know they was going to. You know, in the first film, I remember being in the screen, and you had the Batman tidbits, like from the beginning, where it's going to the mirror when he's putting his makeup on, and if you watch the mirror and the light,
yes,
cow,
yeah,
how them little Easter eggs were in there, and it was really nice. But I'll never forget the one where not only where he met Bruce Wayne as the younger Bruce Wayne at the gate that time.
Yeah,
it was one that was. Later on, which I didn't expect them to explore in the first Joker, when the alley happens and it's the scene of Bruce Wayne and his mum and dad, you know, the murder, and the screen in the cinema, everyone went, because they knew that was that bit, and no one was expecting that to be in this film. And
there's no mention of that. The obvious, like, it was made clear that he caused that. He basically caused that, and there's no mention of any Wayne. I think you see Wayne Tower or something, don't you? When you see the city, you see Wayne Tower, but there's no mention of that. You'd think that would be a fairly decent chunk of this part. I mean, yes, okay, we get Harvey Dent, which was brilliant. I loved that they introduced Harvey Dent, and you're kind of left wondering at the end if, like, with where he's got the blood down one side of his face, he's like, hang on, is that another origin story we're seeing there, or is it just a little hint? But again, it kind of leads into nothing as such. And I feel like yes, it was never going to be a Batman movie, but we needed a little bit more lore in there. Yes, because it would have really just helped. And to me, I'm sure you guys have heard, we'll really delve into the finale, the ending in a second. But the ending with the new Joker, the Joker. You've heard what's been admitted by Todd Phillips that's how he wanted to end the first one, where Arthur cuts his face. Wow. After hearing that and knowing that they've now done that, because Christopher Nolan put a stop to it, was like, no, you can't do that. That's Heath's thing. You cannot touch that. It's like, hang on. I'm pretty sure Barry Keoghan's got the scars in his version, and Jerome from Gotham. Hello. So you can't say that's only Heath's thing. It's just maybe that's who it's associated with. But to me, after hearing that, was like, this film kind of now feels like it was just a lead up to get to that point for Todd Phillips to say, fuck you, Nolan, I've got it now. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do the bit I need just to get there. And it was not the passion and the film that we wanted. It was kind of a, screw you, mate. I'm in control of this now. The Joker is mine.
Once he kills him and he's lying on the floor in pain, and it pans out and he's blurred behind. But not before that bit, actually. You know, like when he tells Arthur the joke to lure him in. Like, do you want to hear a joke? The way that he talks and the accent and didn't he sound like Heath Ledger's Joker? And I thought, was that like a Christopher Reeve Man of Steel moment with Henry Cavill? You know, where he's morphing
when he flies.
Was that done on purpose? Did they do it? It was the same with this scene with him as that Joker. The way he was talking, did it just come out and sound like that? And two and two together, and it sounded like Heath Ledger, he's Joker, and then to do the cuts, and I was like, oh, is this what they were aiming at? That's like he's Joker, and that's the beginning.
It could
of
have been. Now, I like when a film makes you think. That's
Yeah.
what films are meant to do. It's
Yeah.
not just a story being told. But I don't want a film to be like create your own adventure where they're like, well, if this character's here and that character's there, this might happen next, but let's see what actually does happen next. If it makes you think too much, I'm thinking, well, I came to a film to kind of switch off and find some escapism and be told a story by someone else. I don't want to be left always leaving a cinema thinking, I'm not entirely sure what I just watched or if I even liked it. But I mean, I do, again though, I want to see it, and that is a fundamental part of cinema, that a film does make you think. But there are so many opinions online right now that it's hard to fall down that rabbit hole and just get caught in the negativity or sometimes the forced positivity behind the film as well. But it's gotten people talking, it's got us talking, so in that way, the film has done its job.
Yeah.
And again, like, obviously, before I was going, because I didn't get to go to the premiere like you guys, I got to go to the multimedia screening. Didn't get to see Joaquin Phoenix, but nearly got to sit next to Jonathan Ross. But my mate Keith destroyed that moment for me, because there was we sat in, say, seat 3 and 4. 1 and 2 clearly had someone's jacket on it, so they were taken. Jonathan Ross comes up and goes, anyone sitting there, guys? And instead of going, no, and throwing the jacket, Keith went, yes, someone's sitting there. And Jonathan Ross went over and sat on the other side. I'm like, Keith, what are you doing? He was like, yeah, but someone's sitting there. I went, I don't care. It's Jonathan Ross. You tell them people. Like, point to him and go, sorry, guys. And he was like, you would have really loved that. I was like, yeah, but then it would have been awkward because you would have wanted to sit next to him. Like, no. It would have been awkward for you because I don't mind leaning over you and talking to Jonathan Ross. It's only if you've got a problem, it's an issue.
I would have ignored that face and just let it across.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got that talk show element of Jonathan Ross, but, you know, he hosted film review shows for decades. He knows his movies. He knows how to make them and write them as well. So that would have been a very fun chat about that.
Exactly. Especially at the end to go to him. So, what did you think?
Yeah.
What did you think? I'd love to hear you, because then I could then sit on this podcast that we're doing right now and go, well, I think this, but my mate Jonathan, who I got to sit and watch a whole film with, share some popcorn with. Yeah, my mate was. And as I said to Keith, as I also said to Keith as well, I said, you do realise, right, now, to prove to anybody in the world that I'm in a cinema with Jonathan Ross, I've got to do the sneaky photo thing that I did last time I see him. I was like, you've stopped it. I could have easily gone, John, I hope you don't mind, mate. Like that. Now I've got to zoom in on him next to some random woman who, by the way, if you look over, they're having a great time and have a conversation. She could have been me.
But at least you've got celebrities in your screening. I was just at a view and I had a guy snoring his head off through like half of the film. So yeah, I kind of got his impression on it. Yeah, Rumford.
Yeah, you're lucky to survive as well. That ending, right? So it has got everyone talking. I came out, obviously, Paul, like I said, you text me before going saying the ending has changed everything, and that I was so excited to hear, and I texted you, and then we started having the conversation when I was getting on the train about the Heath Ledger thing, and then in my head, like, yeah, oh my God, what if they've done that as a nice nod? Part of me now thinks, since we've heard from Todd Phillips that he was told, no, you can't do this in the first one, he's purposely done that to say, fuck you, Nolan. Not just to make a nod to Heath Ledger. It's kind of like, gutted, I can do it now. James Gunn said it's okay. Like, what I started thinking was a really sweet nod to Heath Ledger is now more of a moment. Yeah, and it's quite good with a Joker.
It could be. You never know. He might release a tell-all book one day where he announced it to the world. But there's been some, as always, drama behind the scenes when it comes to filmmaking, where he didn't let certain people read the script, or there were so many reshoots and rewrites about certain scenes. So he's clearly a very passionate filmmaker, which is what you want. And I don't think any filmmaker or creator wants to be a yes man. They don't want to say, yes, I'll do this for you. I will tell my story the way you want it to be told. He's fought hard over the years to get his vision out there. So I admire that for his creativity. And many years down the line, when he's possibly at Comic Cons talking about his life, we can get some answers out of him about all those behind the scenes stories.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they should do more of nowadays, because we're all clamouring for that. We're always looking for... Everyone looks for spoilers. Even though we don't want to, we're all seeing it. We can't help it. They should do... I mean, they don't do as many. Like in the 90s, everything had a behind-the-scenes documentary to come with it. Magazines would give you the behind-the-scenes documentaries and stuff like that. We need more of that. And more...
Yes,
Blu-rays do not have half of the extras that you got in the
Blu-rays.
The 2000s,
they used
we
to
got
have, like,
everything.
Extras.
Yeah.
You
Or
get free
interviews
discs.
behind the scenes.
You had
It-
secret
sometimes-
menus. There were even like hidden tracks on a DVD reel.
Yeah.
So
Press
yeah,
the buttons and it opens.
Yeah, the Easter. Yeah, that Easter. You have to go around the menu and stuff, looking for stuff. That was great, and they had the best menu screens ever, because they were brilliant at waking you up when you fell asleep while watching something.
So, I think it's Juno. I think it's Juno anyway. With Michael Cera. The DVD screen is him dancing, just like a little. It looks like he's on a loop. It's actually him dancing for hours. They just put a camera down and filmed him doing this weird little shuffly dance, and they filmed him for hours. And if you watch that DVD, you can, if the TV stays on again, and you wake up at 2:00 in the morning scared out of your life because you can hear that in the background, you can watch Michael Cera just doing this weird little shuffle dance. Yeah. Bring back DVD. Well, I'm all for physical media, DVDs and Blu-rays and steelbooks. I'm not a big fan on streaming. So we do need more DVDs.
Because what happens if the streaming services go? What if the internet goes down around the world?
That's it.
You made it.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm a prepper. I'm ready. I've got my DVDs. I've still got my VHS.
I like
Yeah.
it.
It's going to be like I Am Legend. You know when
proper.
You know in I
Literally
Am
with
Legend
Elon Musk
when
making
Will
them
Smith,
robots.
Yeah. You know in I Am Legend when Will Smith is just watching all the films and then he's got Shrek on repeat all the time.
Yeah.
That'll be us if the internet goes down.
Oh,
That's it.
I'm thinking of iRobot, aren't I, with the Elon Musk thing? Have you seen them robots that look exactly like the robots from iRobot? It's like, hang on.
Did we learn nothing? Did we learn
Yeah, go on.
nothing
Go and make a
Copy and
T800
paste.
while you're at it. Go and make the T1000.
That's it. That's
Say
it.
that, there's
Nothing-
going on behind the scenes with the military.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Watch all this conspiracy stuff. I love it.
What could go wrong? I can show you what goes wrong. There's 6 films about this stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
But speaking of DVD menus, the one that's always got me,
The Terminator.
the one that always got me and woke me up, Smallville. Because you could watch it and the volume's at a decent level, but the menu, they did it on purpose. The amount of times I'd be a doze asleep and all of a sudden, somebody, whoa!
It's right
Like
there.
ripping my
There's
shirt
nothing
open while I'm sleeping.
There's nothing subtle about that screen menu at all.
No, absolutely brilliant. Before we go on to the next topic, one last thing I want to ask about Joker. Lady Gaga, what did we think?
I mean, we know she can act, we know she can sing. She just didn't really get to do either of those in this movie. So she didn't get that much screen time.
No, not as much as we'd thought, but I personally, Scott, for some reason, you've frozen like a zombie. Have they frozen for you, Paul? You're the only one that seems to be moving to me at the moment.
I'm moving. I'll talk quick in it.
Scott froze with his eyes rolled back like the Undertaker, and Luke froze with his tongue sort of poking out for us.
Lovely. There's a thumbnail for you. Gee whiz.
It won't. The thing is, it won't be, because this is how good Riverside is. It'll record that, so we'll never see that again. But it's just funny. So I've never been a fan of Lady Gaga. Never liked her music. I've never actually seen any other film with her in. If I'm honest, I've not seen any of that stuff.
You haven't seen A Star Is Born?
No,
Holy shit, man.
but
Holy shit.
and as a man, I've never found her attractive. But for for the lack of what we saw, even when she was in the scrubs of the thing, I'm like, I like her, Harley.
There's
something
different there.
Yeah.
There's something
kind of
different.
sexy.
I think unfortunately we're not going to get to see her progress or where she could have gone with her character. I know it was early days, but it was great seeing in the end in the Harley Quinn sort of outfit. But it was nice that going forward we could have probably seen a lot more of her and version, and I think she would have been really good as well. But sadly, I think it was a one-off, and that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But you never know with the multiverse, do you? So
No, and I mean that there could be another crisis Crisis on Infinite Earths down the line where we get a little nod, a little see off like we did with Smallville.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. Speaking of her Harley, when we know that this guy, I can't remember his name, the one that cuts his face, could be the new Joker, but the baby.
Yeah.
There's no explanation of whether she was telling the truth, which I don't believe she was because she lied through the whole film. But at the same time, we never got an answer to that. So, like, is that baby going to be the Joker as well? Is it going to be 3 Jokers? Because I like that storyline in the comics. I really enjoyed it.
I doubt they're going to go down that route of that insane story. But again, was she lying? Was she telling the truth? A baby conceived in a prison cell. That is one heck of an origin story. So yeah. You never know.
Or the other theory, she didn't exist and it was all in his mind.
He's sticking to that theory.
That makes that prison scene even more worrying.
I was just about to say he's just dry humping the wall.
Dirty pillow.
Or he's dry humping the wall while singing as well.
And I do want to move on to the next thing, but I just keep thinking of things that I've heard because I was listening to Tell 'em Steve Dave. I don't know if you know the podcast. It's the guys from the Comic Book Men, and one of them was talking about the scene where the guards beat up Arthur, but actually it's kind of implied that it's more than just a beating.
Yeah.
And I was now thinking about it, I'm like, wow, that is actually thinking about it. Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
That's quite rough that we got that. That's implied that it's. I hate to say it's a gang rape basically of him, and that to me, realistically, if that is the case, takes away what he is and who he's meant to be. Because the Joker and Arthur Fleck in the first one, them 3 guys were picking on him, and he turned on them. These guys, so where was that? Where was the Joker then?
Same. Yeah, I agree. I felt quite awful for that bit when it ended. That bit, I was like, that weren't really needed. And
very weird.
Weird after all of that. Even when we all come out, it was quite quiet. Everyone's already chatting. We come out the screen, everyone was like,
what did we just see?
Like, everyone was like,
what was that? What's going on?
Everyone puzzled.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is our opinions on Joker Folie à Deux. Look, I liked it. I didn't love it. I'll gladly watch it again. And, it's DC. I don't think I could ever. There's nothing DC's ever done that I've hated, ever. Even Green Lantern. It was all right, It was okay. But, okay, me and Scott haven't seen the next thing we're going to talk about, but I know you two have. There is a man who, I literally... hello. His name's Christopher Reeve. You may have heard of him, Scott. Yeah. He is... Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Beautiful. He's beautiful is what I was going to say. He is, to most of us around the world, he is Superman. And will forever be Superman. And as much as I love every person that's played Superman, he is and always will be my Superman. And there's a movie coming very, very soon, a documentary called Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. Paul and Luke were very, very lucky to get, not only to see it, but have a bit of an experience getting to see it.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, just a bit. Have you looked, Scott, have you been through and seen some of the stuff that they got to do there?
I was watching Luke's review from it. And when you said that you was tearful, if I watch this, I'm going to cry. But that's all I've seen of it. I don't know what you guys are referring to about a bit of an experience. So
right, okay.
I'm anxious.
We'll get to that bit. We'll talk about the crying then. Yeah, I was waiting on this time last week to see anything from you guys. What was it like? What was it? It was like the first thing I see. I open Instagram and there's Paul crying his eyes out. I was like, oh no. Oh, this is gonna. If he's posting that he's crying, I'm fucked. I am screwed when I see this film. Paul's eyes were puffy. He could barely speak. I was like, oh no.
Oh no. Do you know what? I thought I didn't know how I was going to be. I knew I'd probably get a bit teary at certain bits. I didn't know what they was going to show, and as soon as I come out and they were setting like a board up to do some filming with us straight away, which was like a new thing to do. It's like to get some footage. That was nice. So why they had like one of the big boards up, I just got in front and threw my camera on for about a minute more while I've just come out the screen and why I couldn't talk and my eyes were pouring, and just to get that raw, natural reaction, because I wanted to share that with everybody, how that made me feel coming out of that, and to prepare yourselves when you go and see it as well.
I am fully prepared. If you didn't make me emotional, then someone else puts up a podcast reviewing it. Jesus Christ! I just finished at the radio. I'm on the way to Southend to go do some karaoke, and hashtag yay for emotions, Luke. Wow.
I was in arms about posting that or not. I was pretty sure I was going to get emotional when recording it, but I just sat down, hit record, and thought, if I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry. And I did. Mainly because it was just such an... Paul and I have been really looking forward to this film when we found out it was getting created, when we got the press release. And we were like, right, we need to make sure the UK gets this film, because it wasn't guaranteed at first. It is now. We know that's coming out on November the 1st. But Paul and I, pretty much when we were in San Diego, we were talking about this documentary. We knew we wanted to get on board with Warner Brothers. We were constantly emailing saying, look, when it comes time to promote this film, we want to help out as much as we can. And then finally, Paul did that normal thing that whenever us get an email, that's an excited email, we'll message each other saying, check your inbox, stop what you're doing, go and check your inbox. And we had one of those moments where, we were invited to a screening with Q&A afterwards with the directors, Peter and Ian. But sitting down and finally watching this film, from the moment it started to the moment it ended, it was just, we were all glued to the screen. It was emotional. There were moments where we laughed, where we cried, where we gasped. I think probably around here somewhere. Yeah. So this is one of Christopher Reeve's books. So there's a few autobiographies that were released, and if you want to know anything about this film, read them. So I went in knowing all about, as we all did, what happened to Christopher throughout his life and what happened after the accident. This film tells it in a way that it's like being told for the first time. Combine that with the soundtrack and the visuals and the home video footage that the children bravely gave to the director. Said, look, here's all our home movies, do with that what you like. I can see why this documentary is getting so many fantastic reviews, because it is raw, it's powerful, but it's got just the right amount of hope as well as all the sad stuff as well. So yeah, you're gonna cry, don't get me wrong. This film will break you.
I'm fully prepared.
And then bring you back up from the depths of sadness. But yeah, wow, powerful film.
Scott, what do you know? Obviously, you've seen the trailer. You know about the film itself. See, Christopher Reeve's children are a big part of this. So This is where we get to the next part. So from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Luke and Paul knew they were going to see the film. They knew they were going to meet the directors. Didn't know they were going to get Superman biscuits and stuff, which is great. But after meeting the directors, were basically, I think you said it in the podcast, Luke, that you were like fully prepared to leave the directors and go get on your train and think about and start making notes. We're then told we've got one more surprise.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Do you want to fill in the rest of it here?
Go on, Paul. Take it away, Paul, before I start crying again.
Before that bit, I'll keep them on suspense for a minute. We're in the round table. There is 7 of us interviewing the directors, Peter and Ian, 2 lovely fellas. We've been chatting to them for months online anyway. They was begging Warner Brothers to get us there. And when we walked in the room, they see us like in front of them, couldn't thank us enough. Hope you loved the film. We done the round table and it went clockwise. So me and Luke were near the end. And they was running out of time. And it got to Luke and me to ask our questions. And the directors were like, no, we need these 2 to ask their questions. So they made that happen.
Oh, amazing.
We got the time to get our couple of questions in. And then we finished that. The Warner Brothers people there, it's like, if you'd like to come outside, we've got a surprise for you. And all I thought was, fucking, I don't believe it. I didn't know what the surprise was going to be, whether it was going to be a goodie bag or something. Luke had already spotted something before this, so I didn't know this was happening. He didn't say nothing. And we're going out the room, and as we go out, there was Matthew, Alexandra, and Will Reeve waiting to greet us, shake hands. Luke, fucking what? Brilliant.
So
What the hell?
It's in a beautiful hotel in London, and it's great. We got lots of pictures. We talked with everyone. It was great. We were taking selfies. We've been there for a couple of like press junkets before. And there was a part where it was wrapping up, and it was great. And down the end of a corridor, I saw a door open, and all I saw was the back of Will. Now, the whole Reeve family are not only gorgeous, they are tall, and they have just tremendous presence on and off the screen. And from the back, if you've seen Will Reeve, he looks like his dad. That
really?
Just actual stature. And then obviously I was excited and emotional. I was constantly breathing in for about a minute as I was trying to catch my breath. And yeah, we were sent outside and said hello, shook hands, and said our thanks. Got emotional, talked about the film, talked about their travel, took some photographs on the stairs. It was a beautiful moment. Before going to this event, I hoped that we would see at least one of the family to be able to thank them, to be able to say, look, thank you for not only trusting these directors with the most hardest part of your life to share it with the world, but thank you for also coming over. So I like to be prepared, and I've said this in the other podcast that I like to send thank you cards.
Yeah.
I had thank you cards ready for Peter and Ian. The day before going to London, I was like, just in case the Reeve family are there, I'm going to write them a thank you card, just in case. And had it with me, marked it to the Reeve family, and just as after we took our photographs, we were about to head out, and I was like, shit, I didn't give him the card. Rummaged through my card, and probably wasn't for the best because there were quite a fair bit of security there. I didn't want to upset anyone, but I was like, I gave the card to Matt, and I was like, that's for you and everyone else, and I was like trying to fight back tears. And for me, that was my job done. I'd said my thanks and got through that moment without passing out or crying anymore. But it was a beautiful way to end that day. Yeah, it was special for me, for being being a massive Superman fan, but to be in the same room with the direct descendants of Christopher Reeve, to have that 1 degree of separation between somebody that has been so inspirational to the world, but not only as a human, as a parent, but as somebody that has portrayed Superman so beautifully well also. It was a moment that we fully are aware that it's not an everyday situation. We were truly blessed to be there, and we couldn't thank Josh at Warner Brothers enough. He's been a fantastic guy for many years, and we got to thank him endlessly for everything that he did that weekend, along with everything else. It was a real beautiful moment.
That's so cool. To have that moment after seeing the movie as well, that must have been hard.
Yeah, a little bit.
I've met a lot of the Superman actors. I'm well into Superman as Luke is over the years, and there's always the one everyone's like, oh, who would you have never loved to have met in your life? And Christopher Reeve has always been the ultimate one. Because as a kid, you see these heroes on the telly, and it's just on the telly. You're never going to get to meet any of them in real life. Then it comes nowadays, the last 20 years, Comic Cons and stuff happens. You're getting to meet your celebrities. Yes, there's a cost sometimes to some of it, but you're getting to meet your heroes and autographs and photos. And then the one thing was like, yeah, but Christopher, I'm never going to... And then this come out this year, and then this opportunity happened. And do you know what? I could give all this up tomorrow now. I'll be a very happy man doing all my DC stuff for the last 10, 11 years, that this moment's happened, and we were so lucky to get to meet these lovely people. Warner Brothers UK, fantastic job. I love them to
Perfectly
pieces.
put. Perfectly put.
I'm
Now,
getting a bit gutted about it now, but it's one of them moments where you couldn't have paid for something like this to happen, and how they did this surprise for us at the end, fantastic.
That's special. Yeah.
So I will sit there and I will openly, I'll tell you all day long of how jealous I was that you got to do it, but also so proud. I mean, realistically, I've known you guys 3 months, maybe not even that. But I've not only really happy and glad and very, very happy I met you both, that it's reminded me of why I do this, why I'm into this, but it's also reminded me of where I want this to go. and where I want to follow it. I want to be like you guys. I want to be like both of you. I mean, Scott, and if you're not sitting here thinking the same thing, we need to have a chat whether you should be on the pod or not.
Mate, I am.
Time for an appraisal. Oh dear.
I've got a fist under here, just like you little bastards.
Yeah. So
I mean, we get that. We understand that. Over the years, Paul and I have both dealt with comments that aren't always positive, but when we hear comments like that, it's fantastic. And we know we are there to not only promote a film, but we are there to be ambassadors for the company and the characters. I am so proud to be able to take friends and followers on this journey with me to sort of say, look, and if you want to do this, this is what you have to do. This is what you can do. And I've had people ask me this recently after seeing what we got up to, and I'm saying, look, this is the email you need to go through. This is what Paul and I both did. These emails are on Warner Brothers press pages. If you want to put the work in and you are truly passionate about the things that you love, this is what you need to do. And the one of the comments that really pisses me off the most, said a bad word there, that's not like me, is when Paul and I and other members of the DC UK family and other bloggers around the world, we get called lucky. Now, I can understand why we are called lucky. I prefer the term blessed, but something that I have learned over the years and as a personal mantra is, like Paul and I have done, the harder you work, the luckier you will get. And we've built these relationships with Warner Brothers over the years that we fully understand the power that comes with social media and that nasty word influencer that gets thrown around sometimes. So we appreciate when we get comments like you just said there about you're proud, because that is what sets us forward. Yeah. It's special. We can't deny that this is a very rare moment in our lives. And as Paul said, put it beautifully, we could retire tomorrow from this crazy world that we've become a part of. But there's quite a big film coming out next year that I'm not going anywhere just yet. Thank you very much. There we go. It's everywhere. Yes.
Yeah, and well, we've got a whole new universe about to start, so there's loads more to come.
There he is.
And
on brand, Paul. Well done.
This is what I mean. I could, yes, I won't lie and say I wasn't jealous. Of course I am. Who wouldn't be jealous of what you guys got to do? But also, it's like knowing, like I said, meeting you guys. And Scott, you obviously you met Paul in person. You've now met the guys here, and Woody again will say the same. Woody has become more of a geek than ever since meeting you guys.
That's right. That's what we love.
Woody's grafting. He's like, I am going to be a full dork. I didn't think, like, he generally at the beginning of this was like, I don't know where I'm going to fit in, right? And I'm like, better than anything, not only I'm going to call you the producer, but you're going to learn. And I knew, I was like, he's going to get, because I know him, he follows, always gets into the stuff that I'm into in some way, wrestling, radio, podcasting. I'm his favourite uncle and always have been, and I don't like. He's always looked up to me as like a big brother. He will do it. So I knew he was going to get a fire for it, and I know the other guys are all into their stuff. But as much as I'm jealous, I don't sit there and think, yes, I think I wish I could have been there with you. But I'm like, no, my head is I haven't worked hard enough yet to get there. I'm on the start of my journey. What I'm seeing is what you guys, we as a podcast, what I'm seeing with you guys is that the hard work pays. It's worth it to see where we can go with this. Me and Scott went to Basildon Comic Con. Scott's first ever Comic Con. Yes, in terms of Comic Cons that us guys have been to, I mean, you guys have been to the biggest one in the world, but this was nothing. But I saw Scott and he's like having the greatest time. Just this small little, it was a sports hall in Basildon. And we had such a great day, and I was loving it because I could see it through his eyes.
I had a great time.
The virgin eyes of being at a Comic-Con. Like, can you take a picture of me with the TARDIS? Can you take a picture of me on the front? Absolutely, mate. All you want. It's like, as long as you take a picture of me near the Ghostbusters stuff, I'm fine. And so, and Scott, and I cannot wait to see the footage back. Scott.
Yeah, no,
he has been. He did it and then went on holiday. He's been on holiday. But so, like, I know that footage for me, like that footage, once it's come and when he does what magic he can do, because that's his job, and bring it, that's us going forward of like, right, this is when we go to a bigger con, right, send this to them. This is, we want to come. We want to be part of the. This is what we're going to do. We're going to promote your con, and we made it like this was the best Comic Con ever, didn't we? By the way we're talking.
Yeah.
Because we're not. Yes, I did email them. They didn't say, look, we don't accept press, but you can film. Okay, it's only a tenner. We'll go anyway. But we said to Scott, regardless of whether we're going to show them that we're on their side. We're geeks. I know you guys are in a bit of a rush. We've got to wrap up because Luke, have you got another podcast to do? Is that right?
2 more tonight.
What, your own or others?
This is one. I'm doing some stuff for Portsmouth Comic Con, which is a local con, and I'm also speaking with some guys in America that host a Smallville podcast. So they want to come on and talk about again the Superman film. So it's going to be a continually emotional night. Because I know Paul and I are still smiling about that whole event. We went to an event the following day for sort of dinner and drinks where we got to meet the cast and crew again and to sort of sit back and just chill with the rest of the DC family and have some drinks and just bask in the you could feel the love in the room for this film and the project. And that man. And yes, we got to see the Reeve family again, and we got a few photographs. And just as the night was ending, I ended up getting back because I missed my last train. I got home about 3:00 in the morning, but I managed to say hello to Matt, and he said, "Thank you very much for the card. We all read it together." And for me, if I'd left like half an hour earlier, I would have missed that moment. Yeah. So it was worth a night of stressful travel to have that moment, and it was a beautiful night, and to spend it with Paul and the rest of the DC gang was an absolute privilege.
Yeah,
and think of them. I'm sure you thought about this. The fact that they knew that card was from you.
Yeah,
that's that simple little thing. They could have said whoever it was that gave us the card. We love that. We read it together. They knew it was you.
And that's when I sat down and started recording what was meant to be just a review of the podcast turned out to be a bloody therapy session to me talking to a camera. I remember I was just wrapping up at the end, and I was saying, "Oh, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff." Then I remembered, "Oh yeah, they read my card. Christopher Reeve's children know not only about the existence of me, but the existence of my dad, who sadly passed away when I was young as well." So it was a very emotional moment, which I didn't intend to come out on the podcast, but it did. And I'm fine with sharing with that online because that's what this film will do to so many people. It makes you appreciate the people you've got around you.
And as someone that's listened to it, and as someone that also lost a dad, I lost my dad at the age of 20. I'm literally right now, as soon as I said that, I'm fighting it back. I'm like, Luke's going to end up crying for most of the night if this carries on.
It's going to be. It's going to be at 2:00 in the morning. The last one finishes. I'm going to be a blubbering.
He's going to text me going, "What did you do? What did you say about your dad?"
It's happy to. When I came out of the screening, Paul was doing his film part in the corner. I was like, "Mate, we need to hug. We need a cuddle before we do anything else." And we did hug it out, bless him, because I know.
Then I started thinking about my parents because I've lost both of them over the years, and it was I had to go off in the corner for a minute because stuff started to. Weren't thinking about none of that, and then it just started coming out, and everyone started getting affected. It was like a
Scott, you lucky bastard, having both mum and dad still.
We came out of that room and we had some. We were treated with some fantastic pizza and snacks, but we needed a bucket of puppies and kittens and warm blankets and just to be patted and soothed. But this film, I can't wait for the world to see it. It's been around the world already, but the UK get it soon, and I'm really looking forward to speaking with some people when they come out, so we can all again just talk about this film together because it's a very powerful film.
200 UK cinema showing this.
Yeah. My advice to Scott is when you're doing, trust me, because it's doable to do an entire podcast in a couple of days, right? The podcast of Still, go listen, because I've done it all.
Still, okay.
Doing it all.
I literally, I can't. I'm still shocked how quickly I got through all your podcasts. But it was the luck of. I think I did Stoke-on-Trent. I went to Stoke-on-Trent, so I did like 6 episodes on the journey. got through them all.
You binged it.
Yeah, literally. So I'm well up to date with it all. And then go start it. Listen to the beginning and get to the episode of talking about this. And I promise you, it will hit the mark. I mean, I know we could go on. We could probably make each other cry by talking about it.
Let's not push the buttons.
Yeah, Paul's got to go in
Luke's
5.
got another 2.
Luke's 10 minutes over his time schedule.
Let's do another one of these when you guys have seen it.
Yes. Let's come back. Yes,
that'd be cool.
Absolutely.
I've still got I've got pages and pages of notes because we haven't really touched on quite a lot. Don't listen to the soundtrack before you've watched the film. I'll tell you that now.
No.
Okay.
So there's plenty more that we can talk about that. So watch the film, comes out not long now, is it at all? So we can come back on and talk about it. I'd gladly do that. Gladly.
Gentlemen, please do us a favour and give us your social medias. Where can people find you? Paul, let's go with you first.
Paul Edwards DC World on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere else. Facebook, sadly, no longer. It got took down and I can't get it back. Or at geekgarage.co.uk at the Geek Garage shop in Wickford.
Mr. Bugg.
So just look for the Geek of Still or the Podcast of Still. Just Google that and just look for type in blubbering mess after Superman film and you will find my latest podcast episode.
Superman Crybaby.
Completely. I mean, I've had people already say that my tears were forced. Like, dude, I'm not that good of an actor.
No, they weren't. My tears weren't forced, and I was just listening to you talk about it.
I apologise.
No, it's fine. It was a tough karaoke night that night. Sitting there singing "Hurt" by Johnny Cash. I hurt my eyes. Scott, tell them yours as well.
Yep, you can follow me at Scotto Club, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I've got Twitter as well, but
OnlyFans.
Of that. OnlyFans as well, Scotto Club. And I will just put a little announcement out here as I can. I've been away obviously for about a month doing things, but I'm back with content and I'm finally releasing my geek side a little bit more. Obviously I was wrestling content, but now I'm exploring more into the movies and TV shows, which I've been wanting to do for probably since the start of the year, and probably just not had the balls to do it really. But here we are today, starting it.
Good man, that's what we like.
I'm the DJ Ryan S and everything, but more importantly, this is at Talk Dork Podcast. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and in one word, boys, I'm going to take something I took from another podcast, and I'm going to change the question. The question is usually, what does Superman mean to you? But in one word, Paul, I'll ask you first. What does Christopher Reeve mean to you?
Inspiration.
Luke.
Hope.
Ooh.
Scott.
I want to say iconic.
I'm going to use the word justice. I think we've rounded it up. This is Talks with Dorks. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. Boys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
You're a dork.
I hate